When we talk about money, you hear these big, scary numbers thrown around: $1 million, a seven-figure net worth. And honestly, they're so huge they can just feel completely out of reach.
But what if the most important number, the one that actually rewires your brain and sets you on a totally new path, is a lot smaller than you think? Today, we're diving into the strategy and really the psychology of why your first $10,000 is probably the most important financial goal you will ever hit.
Ugh, you know that feeling, right? It's 3 in the morning, you're just staring at the ceiling, and your brain is going a million miles an hour with all the financial what ifs. What if the car breaks down? What if the dog gets sick? It's this constant low-grade anxiety that just steals your peace. Well, what if I told you there's a specific number, a totally achievable amount that's basically the antidote to that 3 a.m. dread? We're not talking about winning the lottery. We're talking about $10,000. This is the number where the noise starts to quiet down and you can actually, finally, take a deep breath. And let's be really clear here. This isn't just some random number we pulled out of a hat. $10,000 is a huge psychological threshold. It's the point where you cross this invisible line in your mind, proving to yourself that, hey, building wealth isn't just for other people. It proves that you can do it. It's the first real piece of evidence that you're in the driver's seat. Before you hit that number, your brain is like a calculator that's always on. Every trip to the grocery store, every coffee, every single choice is this little, draining calculation. You are completely stuck in survival mode. But once you cross that $10,000 line, all that mental chatter, it just fades away. You've basically eliminated what experts call decision fatigue. You're no longer wasting all this mental energy on tiny survival choices. And all that freed up energy, it can now go toward focusing on big opportunities, not just day-to-day obligations. And this, right here, is the part that changed everything for me. The real magic isn't what you can buy with the money, it's the quiet confidence you get just from knowing it's there. It's a buffer between you and whatever life decides to throw at you. And let me tell you, that feeling of security is worth so much more than anything you could ever buy. And that peace of mind, it translates into something incredibly real: power. And I mean specifically, the power to say no. This is where your savings account stops being just a defense and starts becoming an offense, a tool you can use to build the life you actually want. To really get why this matters so much, you just have to look at the reality. The data shows that almost half of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And when you're in that spot, the word no isn't really in your vocabulary. You can't say no to that terrible boss. You can't say no to taking on more debt because you just don't have any other options. And this is exactly why we need to stop thinking about this money as just an emergency fund. That's way too passive. Strategically, this is your first real chunk of what we should call opportunity capital. It's the money that buys you options. It buys you the freedom to make choices out of desire, not desperation. It gives you leverage. Yeah, and just think about what that leverage feels like in real life. It's the power to literally walk away from a job that's wrecking your soul because you know you've got a cushion. It's the power to finally tell that high-interest credit card company no more and just pay it off. And maybe the biggest one, it's the power to stop saying no to yourself, to stop skipping that class or certification that could be a total game changer for your career. Okay, so we've covered the mindset shift. Now let's get into the tactical side of things and talk about how $10,000 acts as a literal shield that turns life's catastrophes into simple inconveniences. The numbers are really clear on this. For the vast majority of financial emergencies, we're talking like 99% of them, $10,000 has you covered. That unexpected car repair, most of them fall between $500 and $3,000. You're covered. That surprise medical bill, covered. And the big one, losing your job, 10 grand is enough to give you a 3 to 6 month runway to find a new job without having to panic. It is a powerful financial shield. And this is where you really feel the difference. Think about that moment your check engine light comes on. Without savings, your heart just sinks, right? You immediately go into panic mode. But with that $10,000 shield in place, the feeling is totally different. Yeah, it's annoying, it's an inconvenience, but it is not a catastrophe. And that shift from gut-wrenching panic to just being annoyed, that changes your entire sense of well-being. All right, now we get to my favorite part, the math. Because all these amazing emotional benefits, they're backed up by cold, hard numbers. There's a very real mathematical reason why that first 10,000 is the absolute hardest and why everything starts to speed up after that. The absolute best way to picture this is to think of a small snowball at the top of a really big hill. Getting that first little ball packed together and pushing it to get it rolling takes a ton of effort. It barely moves at first. That slow, grueling uphill battle, that's your journey to $10,000. Now, let's put some real numbers on that snowball. Let's say you save $1,000 a year and get a 10% return. It'll take you about 8 years to hit your first 10 grand. But watch what happens next. The next $10,000 takes less than 5 years. The one after that? Just over 3. See? Each step gets faster and faster because your money is now doing the heavy lifting for you. It's the magic of compounding in action. Oh, it's just the most incredible feeling. That initial fight to get to 10,000, that's you fighting against financial gravity. Every single dollar feels like a struggle. But once you hit that milestone and the math starts working for you, it feels like a rocket breaking through the atmosphere. You've hit financial escape velocity. You're no longer being dragged down by the paycheck to paycheck cycle. You're not just surviving anymore, you're accelerating. So this all sounds pretty great, right? The peace of mind, the power, the momentum. But the big question is, how do you actually start? How do you get that first snowball rolling when you're starting from scratch? Well, we're going to wrap this up with a simple 1-month challenge to get you going. But before we get to the steps, you have to understand this one crucial thing. The hardest part of this whole journey is not the act of saving money. It is the internal shift. It's about building the identity of someone who saves. Because once you truly believe, I am a saver, your daily choices just start to fall in line almost automatically. This challenge is all about building that identity. Okay, here is the game plan. It is simple, it is actionable. For just 1 week, 7 days, I want you to track every single dollar you spend on convenience. This is your daily coffee, lunch out, Uber Eats, all of it. Don't judge it, just track it. At the end of that week, add it all up. For step 2, take 1/3 of that total and move it into a separate savings account immediately. And finally, step 3, and this is the most important part. Automate that same transfer for the next 3 weeks. Make it happen without you even thinking about it. And you might be really surprised what happens. The average American spends over $3,000 a year on these little convenience buys. By just redirecting 1/3 of that, you can find an extra $1,000 a year in your budget. And you can do it without making some huge, painful life change. It just proves that for most of us, the money is already there. It just needs a purpose. So the challenge is on the table. The path is right in front of you. Once you build that habit, once you prove to yourself that you are a saver, that snowball will start to roll. And I promise you, it will get faster and bigger over time. So the only question left is, once you've earned that freedom, what are you going to build with it?